Chip Mayer was studying marketing and sociology at Colgate University when he started modeling to earn extra money. He was so successful that after graduation, his modeling agency moved him to Hollywood to break him into acting.
I got a TV product directed by Hal Needham called Stunts Unlimited, sort of about like two stunt guys that were CIA agents, and I was amazed. It was like whirlwind. I mean, I think it was probably 90 days after I decided to become an actor. I was in Los Angeles and starring in the television pilots.
Chip suddenly had lots of money and rocketed himself into the fast lane.
I went through a period of leading just 5 lives at the same time. I wanted to see how many women I could go out with at the same time, and of course that would cause me to weave a web of deception and spread myself really thin. But it was something that was exhilarating about it as well. You knew it was wrong, but you had to stay on such a razor's edge to keep it all. It's like, you know, like the Ed Sullivan Show, keeping 9 plates spinning at the same time.
Even when Chip met and married his first wife, his lifestyle didn't change.
I mean, for me, it was always like I always enjoyed working out and staying in shape and all that, but then also at nighttime, I kind of wanted to go out and go nuts. It was the idea of wanting the white picket fence during the day, but at night you want the black leather and the strobe lights and all the insanity, you know. I want to do it all. And you can't. I thought I could.
During this time, Chip landed a role on The Dukes of Hazzard, replacing Tom Wopat. Chip's wife also had a successful acting career, but despite the fact they'd brought a child into the world, their marriage was on the rocks.
We got a divorce. And I think that was the beginning for me of like a real, like, Nantucket sleigh ride into the abyss. Because I really felt, it's almost like, you know, you're aboard a stagecoach and you're holding onto the reins. And there can come a point where you just sort of let go.
But why was the divorce so traumatic? Chip had grown up as the older brother of 7 children, in what he describes as a Capra-esque It's a Wonderful Life situation. In caring for his younger brothers and sisters, Chip grew to love children and always wanted to have his own someday. Now, having destroyed the possibility of his daughter ever having the kind of upbringing he had enjoyed, guilt was destroying him.
When I would have to take her back, she would scream and cry and lock her arms around my neck. And I would have to pull her hands off me and give her back to her mother, and her crying my name as the door closed. And I would get back in the car, and I just started weeping. And I was like, here I've caused this child like some irrevocable harm. I can never put it back together.
Chip's self-destructive mode took him through another failed marriage. He couldn't give up womanizing. He was slowly becoming an alcoholic and a drug addict.
I don't think I knew it at the time, but I really embraced the spirit of suicide. But I wasn't going to do it with a gun or a knife. I was going to do it with drugs and alcohol.
Into the middle of all this madness stumbled Shauna Sullivan.
I fell madly in love with him. But throughout it all, I could see that there were some things that needed to be fixed there. He was like a bubble off groove. And I thought, well, this is a guy that you date. This is not a guy that you marry.
But Chip was so romantic and such a slick talker that Shauna did marry him. Within 5 months, she was pregnant with their first child. But her happiness was robbed when she realized Chip was incapable of change.
And that's why I think we're going to pack a bunch.
I know that's not what you're going to do, though, Chip. If you walk out the door, I know you're not coming back.
I'm coming back. I'm going to walk up to the store. I'm going to get a pack of butts, and I'm going to come right back.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Chip, please don't go. I was completely tormented. I couldn't believe that I had waited 35 years to get married, and this is where I was. I had married a man that was so addicted to something else that he would leave us for 3 days and 3 nights.
You want to go up there?
So each time that he left again, I took it very personally because he told me he was never going to do it again. And I was naive enough to believe it. I was a broken woman. I know you're not coming back.
I'm coming right
So
back.
just don't go.
I'm going to go up for a pack of butts. Be right back.
If you go, I'm taking the baby, and I'm not going to be here when you get back.
At this time, Sean and I started going to church. We were going to church on the way here in Van Nuys. And I remember I just walked into the church and started getting convicted. I used to like, set my jaw and sweat, endeavoring not to cry.
It was a turning point for Chip. Help came in the form of finding a relationship with Jesus Christ.
So in addition to the drug and the smoking and the drinking, he also quit womanizing. And his language was completely free of any obscenities. I saw that immediately.
But just a short time later, some friends persuaded Chip to go out on a binge. Reality hit hard when he faced his wife in the early hours.
I felt like like I wanted to die. So, see, I used to race Porsches and other cars I had up in Mulholland, and so I knew this place. I was going to take this Cherokee of mine. I knew a place that I could go, and if I just put my foot through the firewall, I'd be like 80 feet out into space before it started to go down, and I was on my way to go do that.
But before Chip headed out to take his life, he made one last desperate phone call to his friend Patrick and agreed to meet with him. As he sat waiting for Patrick to arrive, Chip's life flashed before him.
And just thinking about, my life and what was going on with it and why it seemed to be so out of my control. And just when I was a little boy, just like Saturday mornings, when you would lace up your sneakers and go out and play, and everything seemed so easy and so joyful and so hope-filled. And I was like, in my own mind, I couldn't make it all go away. It was like I wanted it all to go away. I just wanted to start over again.
It's not funny, Patrick. It's not. Come on. It's not funny, Patrick. I know it's not. Look, you were like a couple of soldiers here, bro. Shot up and bloody. So come on and get like in the foxhole. Let me patch you up here. It's not funny, man. Sean says she wants to leave me. My manager doesn't want to handle me anymore. I'm so tired of being a screw-up.
Patrick knew that the broken shell of a man sitting beside him in his truck was still special to God, and that Chip needed to realize that God had plans for his life. But for Chip to take hold of that future, he needed the power to change his life, and only the Spirit of God could do that. As Patrick prayed, Chip says, it seemed God came right into that truck.
I never looked back since then. I just knew. I just knew. It was all of a sudden, it was clear. And I felt the calling of my life. And I felt the future that the Lord had for me.
God doesn't care. God doesn't care what your manager says.
But after all he'd been through, Chip still had to convince his wife that he could change. The key for Shauna came when she asked God to help her forgive Chip.
Because of that prayer, because I stepped out in obedience and asked the Lord to do a miracle work in me, I know he reached his hand out and supernaturally plucked all that unforgiveness out of my soul and out of my mind. And the memories are still there, but we can actually laugh about them now. We laugh about them.
And all the stuff I thought about on that curb when I was weeping and thinking about when I was a little boy, I've been given back. I have all the joy of when I was 7 years old on a Saturday morning, going off to play pickup football. There's that thing that says, I guess in prose or in literature, you can never go home. Well, that's a lie. Because through Jesus Christ and through the word of his Father, you can. And you can start over again.
And where does Chip believe he'd be today if he hadn't started over again?
Dead. Lip deep in the lake of fire. That's where I'd be. So I owe him everything. I look around and see the beauty of my children and the majesty of a dawn, or laughing over something with my wife or something, and all of it is a gift. It's amazing because, well, the thing about it is that even without him, you could still be respirating, but you're still dead. So, I mean, that's the thing about it is it's all upward and outward now. It's all eternal. It's all good. I'm free. I'm free.